Once you have found a scholarly journal article that seems like it would help with your research project, it is time to read it. Since expert researchers write these articles, they are often filled with field-specific jargon and difficult research processes, making them much harder to read than magazines or newspaper articles. This video will provide some general strategies for reading and understanding a scholarly journal article. Luckily, most primary research articles published in journals use a standardized structure. Each section is labeled and has a clear purpose. After the title, authors, and publication information, the sections will be presented in the following order: abstract, introduction or background, methods or methodologies, results, and discussion or conclusion. After all of that will be the references or bibliography. Even with some slight variations in the terminology for the sections, knowing that these articles follow this structure and each section has a clear purpose make them easier to read. As with any source, verify that it is reliable and appropriate for your assignment before you begin. Start by reading the title. Scholarly journal articles are very specific and should indicate the specific topic of research. Take note of who the authors are and where they work. Each should be an expert in the field. You may want to do a quick Google search of the author, their institution, and the journal title to verify that they are reputable. Double-check the year of publication for currency. After the title and publication information, move on to the abstract. The abstract will summarize the research question, methods, and conclusion. The abstract is very helpful in understanding the article, but this section should not be used as supporting documentation in an assignment. For that, make sure you have the article open to dive into each section. Continue to the introduction section. The introduction will give you background information on the topic, what is known, what is not known, and what the authors hope to learn about the topic. Use the introduction to identify the problem that this field of research is trying to solve, the specific question that the authors will try to answer, and possibly their hypothesis. Next, the methods section describes the steps and framework the authors use to answer their research question. Pay close attention to how the researchers got their information, including the number, size, and participant details for their sample, and what type of study they did to analyze it. Next, look over the results section. The results section presents what the authors found using their methodology. Look at any tables, charts, and graphs, but don't worry about reading this section in depth and interpreting the results. Just try to see what they are. Then read the discussion, also known as the conclusion section. This last part of the paper will provide the author's interpretation of their results. Look closely for the author's overall conclusion and pay attention to any weaknesses or areas where additional study is needed. This section will help you understand what the study did to answer the specific question that the author set out to answer and how it fits in with the overall question. Finally, there are the references. This section is useful to verify that the authors researched their topic well before their study and may be useful to find additional sources. After reading through the article, look over your notes and reflect on the following questions. What was the specific question or hypothesis that the authors were trying to answer? What were the methods the author used to gather and analyze information? After the authors completed their study and analyzed the results, what was the conclusion? How does their conclusion relate to your research topic? How might you use it in a paper or project? Using scholarly journal articles can be a daunting task, especially if you have never read one before. Practice and exposure will make it less overwhelming. If you have trouble finding, reading, or citing a scholarly journal article, an LPC librarian can help.